This episode of Going in Raw is sponsored by BetterHelp. Several years ago, I was dealing with a case of the blues during the holidays, and therapy was a bright spot amid all the stress and anxiety. Something to look forward to help me feel grounded, to provide me with the tools I needed to manage everything that was going on.
And if you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's completely online and designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited for your schedule. All you got to do to get started is fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched up with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge.
So find your bright spot this season with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/raw today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/raw.
Hey, friendo, Steve here.
Yeah, Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to. On today's episode, we're talking WWE Raw from last night. War Games! Officially announced in a wild post-main event brawl that went down. And it looks like the teams are set for now, although there was a tweet that went out last night that sort of had me thinking. We have Judgment Day, J.D. McDonough, Dom Mysterio, Damian Priest, and Finn Balor, of course, versus Cody Rhodes, Samuel Zayn, Jey Uso, and Seth frickin' Rollins.
That's 4-4. That's even.
On 4. Yeah, man. Sean Ross Sapp sent out a tweet last. Somebody asked him. They said sometimes War Games is 5-on-5, and he says stay tuned to find out more. So maybe I don't know.
I saw that. Maybe they're going to add Drew McIntyre and somebody else to the mix. Who knows?
Okay, Kevin Owens, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, the lineup has varied through the years since it's been revived in WWE. Like the first year, I think in NXT it was 3-on-3-on-3, I believe. Was that the year that was Authors of Pain, Roderick Strong versus Undisputed Era versus another team of 3?
Maybe that sounds. Yeah. I definitely know Authors of Pain and Roderick. You're right.
Oh, and then Ricochet was with War Machine, one of them.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Same year. So I think this varied through the years. So, but last year was 5-on-5.
Oh, last year was 5-on-5. Okay.
Yeah, it was 5-on-5.
I don't remember nothing.
It was Usos, Roman, and Solo, and Sammy on Team Bloodline. Oh, it was Sanity the first year. Thank you, Sanity the first year. But Eric Young and Damo and Alexander Wolf.
So yeah, I don't know whether I don't know like who a fifth would like make. I guess Drew might make. I don't know. I'd find it difficult to think that Drew McIntyre, he showed up and left last night as soon as he was confronted with a microphone. What's her face goes up to him and says, "Drew, talk about your loss last night." And he was like, "Nope."
He's like, "No, I'd rather not. Prefer not to."
He's like, "I'm going to no-show this event instead."
He did the Grandpa Simpson.
He did, exactly. Got his hat, went right back out. Thought it was a fun Raw last night. Lots going on, including just an absolutely terrific main event. Shockingly, at least in the main event, there was no Judgment Day. Seth Rollins put his World Heavyweight Championship on the line against Sami Zayn as a thanks for Sami coming in clutch, helping to stave off the cash-in from Damian Priest. And then we also have a new number 1 contender for Rhea Ripley's Women's World Championship for Survivor Series. I was kind of surprised. I thought they would go Shayna Baszler. They're going young with Zoe Stark. I thought that was awesome.
I actually thought they were going to go with Nia Jax because she was one that wasn't involved in the finish at the 5-way match at Crown Jewel.
Walking into it, like I figured that'd be the case when it came down to the final 2. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. They're going to do Shayna versus Rhea because Rhea was the one who beat Shayna, I think, in her second reign for the NXT title. So they could reference that but yeah, no, they're going with Zoe Stark. I think that's an awesome spot for Zoe Stark, who
absolutely
since her call up has just done a really great job of maximizing every opportunity she's had on screen.
And from a character perspective, she seems way more comfortable on main roster than she ever did in NXT.
She has come a long way. I really think that being under Trish Stratus's wing, probably both, not just on camera, but I would imagine off camera as well, probably did wonders for her. She's picking up on everything really, really well. And she's such a Triple H wrestler. Like that, like her Tron has it's like post-apocalyptic and she's got that super like kind of metal vibe. And in the ring, honestly, she's one of the best they have already. Like she really is.
Yeah.
So that's going to be really exciting.
Before we talk Raw, we got a little bit of news here regarding where Raw might end up in the TV bidding war of 2024. So while SmackDown's broadcast future is set for the next few years, it's going back to the USA Network in 2024. The fate of Raw, NXT, seemingly up in the air for now. In the latest Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer discussed who might be in the mix to secure WWE's flagship show next year. That's what Dave had to say. These transcripts come to WrestlingNews.co. Quote, they're doing their earnings report tomorrow, Tuesday. That's today. It's from last night's episode, by the way. It should be noted that as far as the rumors of Raw, it looks like the rumor mill right now has either FX, Warner Brothers, which would be a crazy situation, but I think it's a long shot too, and USA. But the analysts believe they're going to get a 42% increase, which may not drop the stock because it's down lower than it probably should be, but it won't help them. But they will be more profitable. The UFC and WWE earnings report will be out tomorrow. So, we talked about, breaking news. NXT to move to CW. Is this real, White Brownie? PW Insider just reported it. Did they do it a 2-hour or 3-hour block? Oh, yeah, there it is.
What? NXT is going.
Multiple sources. The broadcast industry confirmed that the CW network and WWE have been in deep discussions for weeks about NXT shifting from its current basic cable home to the USA Network to traditional broadcast television home.
Oh, okay.
The belief among some we have spoken with, this deal is very close to being completed, with the deal expected to be around 5 years in length.
Wow.
Once signed, it would easily be the biggest increase for NXT media right fees ever.
So, if I remember correctly, NXT was getting, wasn't it like, it was not
like
that
50 or something like that, right?
Was it 50 for the entire term or 50 a year?
I thought it was a year.
50 a year. Jesus, what are they going to get for NXT?
I mean, if they can keep the numbers. Well, here's the thing. They're getting those numbers on USA Network. And I know CW is network television. It's kind of like the B-tier network television. It's not ABC or NBC or CBS or Fox.
It's a top 20 channel.
It is.
That's what they say.
Yeah. But it's not the legacy networks. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I understand exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
So the potential is there for their show to get more eyeballs on it. And if they continue booking it the way they have and keeping the numbers up, they could probably get a decent number in terms of the TV deal.
Yeah. No, I'm just, CW.
I imagine they'd probably at least double that.
Who owns a CW? It's not Warner's.
I thought it was Warner's.
Was it Warner's?
I thought it was
still
Warner's.
owned by Warner's? What a friggin'...
I guess when they said Warner's, we always assumed it would be TBS or TNT, but maybe... All right, so Aussie says CBS and WB co-own it.
Okay. Controlled by Nexstar Media Group with a 75% ownership interest. What the hell is a Nexstar? Parent organization, Nexstar Media Group.
So they own 75%. CBS owns 12.5%, as does Warner Brothers.
Okay, so whatever this Nexstar is, they own something called News Nation. Okay. Their revenue is $4.5 billion, and their stock price is $150. Who fucking knows? So what does that mean for the NWA? did they drug themselves
NXT
out
come
of
in and scoop the NWA TV deal after that bid at the last pay-per-view?
Maybe. Man, oh man, you gotta. It's like out of all, like they've had so much time. The NWA has to like feature cocaine on their broadcast, and they choose during TV negotiations to do it.
I know. No, once they seemingly have a deal in place, no less.
Well, apparently the ink wasn't dry on that one.
I guess not.
Yeah.
I guess not. All right, what does CW's Tuesday night lineup look like?
I'm gonna guess. Let me guess. Like C-level DC properties. Although I think a lot of those are gone now.
Let's see. So what's tonight? Today is Tuesday, right? Yes.
Gotham Knights.
So at 8 p.m. we have Inside the NFL.
Really?
And then at 9 and 9:30 they got Whose Line Is It Anyways?
Reruns or new ones?
It says special. No description, just says special.
Okay.
looks like they have some reruns on here too, but they have Dawson's Creek, of course. That's a rerun.
That's got to be a rerun. Yeah,
Sullivan's Crossing.
Superman was just announced that they're canceling that show.
Oh yeah.
Spectre says they canceled all the CW shows. Muta Mayday says the CW has been trying to get rid of superhero and teen focus shows.
Interesting.
That's crazy.
Interesting.
That is crazy. So is NXT going to air the Billy Corgan wedding too?
I'd be surprised.
Same here.
So Tuesday, they from 8 to 10, they have their Inside the NFL and Whose Line Is It Anyways? That's their Tuesday night lineup.
Okay. All right. Well,
so
I wonder,
Monday,
like,
they have,
yeah.
Oh, Monday, get this. Penn and Teller, Fool Us, Masters of Illusion, and World's Funniest Animals. That's their primetime lineup.
I have never heard of, I've heard of Penn and Teller, obviously. The CW is like an alternate universe at this point. Like, I would have figured, like, I know 10 years ago it was what was it called?
Supernatural.
Supernatural. I was going to say spiritual.
Yeah, and like Arrow and all that stuff. Yeah.
And Arrow, Flash, all that stuff. But now, like, what? They're just putting whatever,
so
a bunch of cheap stuff on
Thursday
there.
is Son of Critch.
Who is Critch?
I don't know. Run the Burbs.
What? You're looking at some British. This is like BBC Four.
No,
what are you
this
talking
is CW,
about?
bro.
Run the Burbs. This is BBC Four.
No way,
We're
bro.
now watching Run the Burbs. Son of Critch.
Children ruin everything.
BBC Four. Children ruin everything. But first, here's Top of the Pops.
Look at this Saturday lineup. They got a bunch of Jack Hanna stuff in the morning.
John Thon says
football.
those are Canadian shows. What is happening right now?
I don't know.
This is crazy.
So I mean, if the CW is going to start for the channel wrestling, I guess coming up soon, huh?
Yeah, that's bizarre. That's crazy. Nextstar is spending some money on wrestling. They need to be spending some money on those DC properties. Eric Clark confirms, says Son of Tricks and Run the Burbs are Canadian shows. Is the C and CW stand for Canadian?
See, that's probably cheap. They just licensed those.
I guess so. Yeah,
it's just cheap. It sounds like they're just doing licensing narrative shows and then producing reality.
Is WWE Raw is Monday Night Raw going to go to UPN?
That channel doesn't exist anymore, Steve.
You're correct. I think CW folded UPN into CW.
It did, and the WB, right? They took those two channels.
WB.
I guess it would make sense because 12.5% is owned by Paramount, parent company CBS. The other 12.5% of CW is owned by the Warner Brothers.
Remember WB had that problematic frog?
Uh-huh.
Whose bright idea was that?
Anyways.
So NXT is now on CW, apparently, starting 2024.
Well, apparently the deal isn't sealed yet, but according to PW Insider, look in that direction.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. So, man, I don't know where that means friggin' Monday Night Raw is going to end up. But according to Dave Meltzer, let's go back to that. FX is in the rumor mill. WBD is mind-blowing. But given the collision rating, oh, my God.
That was abysmal.
Oh, my God. What was it, 350 or something? 360?
300
something like
change,
that?
Yeah.
Yowza. So that's trash. So maybe they're like, oh, man, we got this, secondary promotion. We need the primary promotion.
That could be, especially if Tony Khan's got a price set for the bundle, the AEW bundle.
Yeah.
The TV rights, the pay-per-view, plus the library.
Yeah.
Putting that all on Max, and like he really has a certain price tag associated with that bundle, and Warner Brothers like, Tony, did you see the collision ratings? We're not paying that much for that.
Yeah. We're going to give you a bill for Phil, but Phil's gone, so no bill.
Therefore, no bill. No bill, Phil.
Yeah. Quarter bill.
Where they would give a bill for WWE to bring them over, I'm sure.
Yeah, you need to give a WWE bill. They're big.
But business. I don't know, like, let's talk about this for a second, because I don't know what, and I know TNT, TBS, Warner Brothers Discovery, there's a chance they're going to lose the NBA rights.
Yeah, right.
Coming up in 2025. And so I guess that would be something they might consider when working out a deal, Warner Brothers Discovery, for Raw, potentially. But TBS, TNT still has hockey, still has baseball.
Yeah.
And if they somehow keep NBA rights, like I don't think WWE would move to a network that's going to have to preempt Raw on a regular basis. You know what I mean? And if that's going to be a potential issue. I don't know what nights. Like I think the NBA is Tuesday and Thursday on on TNT.
Mm-hmm.
That wouldn't be an issue if they keep her on Mondays.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's a situation where, like, during especially baseball playoff season, I think I have to preempt Raw. WWE's not going to be into that. USA, they don't have to worry about that so much.
Yeah.
FX, I doubt they'd have to worry about that.
Yeah. Yeah, so man, I don't know. A lot going on there. With everybody having, all these different deals and stuff, you would think maybe USA, NBC Universal would be like, hey, let's just put all our eggs in WWE basket. Business is really good right now, and I don't know if that's going to slow down.
One place they wouldn't have to preempt Raw, CW.
The CW, yeah, CWWE, that's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Son of a Critch, followed by, coming up next, Son of a Critch, followed by WWE Raw. At 2 a.m. Sunday, NXT. Followed by NWA and Billy Corgan's wedding. Up next, top of the
wrestling block. I know.
Right, man, that's crazy. Man, the landscape shifting.
I never would have thought CW would be in play for WB product
for anything. I mean, they've got Son of a Critch.
I mean, NWA makes sense.
NWA makes sense if NWA is paying. That's the only time that makes sense. Which it kind of
It kind of seemed like that might be part of it. Yes.
Anyways, before we get going with our Raw review, Larson, you want to pay some bills?
Let's pay some bills, Steve.
All right, let's go ahead and do that. This episode of Going in Raw is sponsored by BetterHelp. The holiday season is upon us, and it could be a lot. It could be time of joy, but it could also be a time of stress, anxiety, and sadness. If you're dealing with the seasonal blues during the holidays, therapy can be a bright spot amid all of the stress, something to look forward to help you feel grounded and to provide you with the tools to manage everything going on.
I've been there. I can think of one especially difficult holiday season back when I was in my mid-20s, when I was dealing with anxiety. And this anxiety got really bad. And I realized that in order to live a happier, more productive life, I needed to go to therapy. And it took me a few tries to find someone I felt comfortable talking to. But once I did, I was able to learn positive coping skills to help manage my anxiety and get me back on track to being a better Larson.
So if you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online and designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited for your schedule. All you got to do to get started is fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you could switch therapists at any time for no additional charge.
So find your bright spot this season with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/raw today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/raw. Oh, just to be clear, I don't know if that was a joke about NWA paying CW. We don't know anything about that.
Yeah, we don't know anything about that, but it's funny to say that.
It is, but we don't know anything about
it. The fumble of that potential deal, given that it's not going to be, it's CW. Like, I'll put it this way, I would find it difficult to believe the CW would plunk down big money for the NWA, and the idea that they had a really silly spot that was completely unnecessary and did nothing for the company except maybe torpedo what was already probably not a great deal for the NWA.
I know.
Like, really? Man, can we talk about The Miz really quick?
Oh, hold on. Review King says Meltzer said Billy was definitely paying for time for the reality show.
Okay, so I read the thing that we both read that said...
That was from the House of Wrestling thing.
Okay, that was from House of Wrestling. Thank you, because I forgot what it was. That said Billy was fronting the production costs on stuff. But I didn't know if there was if CW was licensing, meaning paying Billy,
for the rights to air that.
For the rights to air that, which might offset that and maybe profit. I don't know. But like the way House of Wrestling put it, it seemed like the CW deal, the main thing that NWA gets out of it is exposure. Because it's like, oh, maybe it'll help with merchandise and ticket sales. I'm like, TV licensing is supposed to be the thing. Like, that's supposed to be.
In this day and age, that's what's supposed to keep your wrestling company afloat.
Right, exactly.
Well, here, I have the story here. Talk about The Miz, and I'll see if I can find. I have the story right here from House of Wrestling.
I think it is fascinating and awesome to see. And I know people have said, hey, the Miz cuts one good promo a year, where he gets all fiery and stuff, and he drops his annual G1 match. That's what I saw on Twitter today.
Yeah.
But I have noticed since Miz started his sort of face turn.
Okay, sorry, let me interject here real quick because I have the thing. This is what House of Wrestling said. We also learned the reality show was fully paid for by Corgan, the executive producer of the series, and he has final creative say on it. We are told that the CW did not pay for the reality series.
Okay.
And would profit from it by selling ads.
Okay. How would
they're not paying licensing fees for the show.
How would
Corgan is
NWA
optimistic
profit off that then?
Corgan is optimistic that exposure of being on the CW will lead to higher ticket sales for NWA events on top of improved merchandise sales.
Yeah, that just sounds like exposure bucks. Anyways, let's talk about The Miz. He's cool these days. So since he did his face turn, it's like, okay, well, I like that they're keeping the essence of Miz. He's a dick and, he's arrogant. But they just have him doing that shtick against people that other people don't like or against people that are actual bad guys.
Yeah.
And I think that's such a good way to go with him as opposed to all of a sudden he's a good guy and he's swell and he's sweet and everything like that.
Yeah.
And the crowd getting so firmly behind him, the booking of that match last night where the crowd was going apeshit for The Miz is, I think, and again, man, I don't know, maybe I'm just a mark for Triple H, but I feel like Triple H, hey, you give credit and you give blame when either are due, right? Triple H puts these characters in a position to maximize their potential as a character. And what does he tell Miz? Don't be a good guy, be who you are, but we're going to put in assholes against you, and then you naturally will be a good guy in the eyes of the fans. And so when you do that, even for this short amount of time, you have him in there with getting attacked by Kaiser and the rest of Imperium and Gunther and all them. And you have him in there doing really cool shit. And the bottom line is that's all people want to see is people do really cool shit. And you'll get on the side of the fans. And he goes in there and does that. That crowd was going crazy for The Miz. Now he's number one contender for Gunther's title at SummerSlam. And if we get sort of that 2016, I meant Survivor Series. You think that could be taken away from him?
Well, apparently the finish was a bit botched in that match. It was supposed to be a double pin.
Mm-hmm, yeah, right.
I mean, I still anticipate The Miz coming out of that in the end as whoever's going to face Gunther.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the Tuesdays have struck here on the stream. Apologies, everybody.
Yeah.
But, until we see how that all plays out, I think it's going to be him, but they might change. It might change. Who knows?
So Miz has a match next week against Ivar because post-match Ivar beat up The Miz.
Yeah.
So Ricochet wasn't supposed to kick out. He was being pinned by Ivar.
Yeah.
Do you think that maybe this match coming up next week was then going to be for the number one contendership?
Entirely possible.
I think given that they had set up Miz on the Miz TV with Gunther, I feel like that's going to be the match. And Ivar would be sort of the proxy big man taking on Miz. Let's assume for a second that it is going to be Miz keeping that number one contender spot. I like that a lot because, Miz can bring it when he wants to. It's just under Vince McMahon, it was a yearly thing, if that. Sometimes we wouldn't get that for a couple of years, and then all of a sudden he'd bust out. I was like, wow, Miz is really good.
And here's another aspect of it is I know Miz doesn't have the longest reign with the Intercontinental title. He's on the short list of greatest IC champs of all time because he's had, 8 reigns with the title?
8, yeah.
So if you want to start knocking down accolades for Gunther, with respect to other former Intercontinental champions, him taking on The Miz makes a lot of sense.
It does, yeah. No, it absolutely does. No, from a story perspective, you're absolutely right. And I would love to think because Miz has offered, there's always been, even going back to the feud between him and Maurice and John Cena and Nikki Bella, there was some really good stuff there. And Miz can tap into that. It's just so often Vince McMahon seemed to see him as this guy whose role was to be humiliated and do talk shows.
Yep.
And he does have more to offer, and I hope that we see that on a more regular basis with The Miz, because I think that version of The Miz can be a hell of a participant in this Intercontinental Championship match with Gunther at Survivor Series. And I love to see them, dusting off Miz, giving us, sort of prime Miz. I'd love to see it. The crowd was so firmly behind him last night. I thought it was awesome. And I think that the finish, I know, I saw the tweet from Meltzer as well that it was a botched finish, but given how hardcore that crowd was behind him, I hope that the crowd brings that energy next week against him and Ivar. Ivar's a hell of a wrestler. We've seen that over the years, but especially recently against Kofi Kingston. That match next week on Raw should be really, really good, and I'm looking forward to seeing it.
It should be, and if they, as you mentioned, they use Ivar as kind of a proxy for Gunther, and that it's a competitor for Miz to overcome to get this title opportunity. I mean, that's stacking the odds against the Miz, and that's what you want in any sort of babyface program.
Yeah, absolutely, and he can
So
maintain.
it can, in the end, work out for the best.
And he can maintain that snarkiness, and I loved him walking around doing the big balls pose, because that shit's gonna turn in his favor now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that that going in that direction with the Miz obviously is paying off. You love to see, now that Vince is gone from creative, Triple H really getting to show what he can do, and when you can take a guy like the Miz and get the crowd that much behind him, you know what you're doing, and Miz buying into it as well, the performance as well. So yeah, that's
it was solid stuff. We kind of talked about this at the head of the show. We can get into it a little bit more now. Zoe Stark won Battle Royal. She's going to face Rhea Ripley at Survivor Series. Was not expecting Zoe to be the winner, but I am excited because she's been doing phenomenal work since her call up. And while I was expecting Nia based on how the 5-way went, Ripley versus Stark is going to be a fantastic match.
Yeah, it is. And
like potential match of the night type bout. Zoe Stark is a phenomenal wrestler. Rhea Ripley is a phenomenal wrestler. If they can get some good character stuff going into this match, so there's a lot of heat and anticipation behind it.
Yeah,
we're going to hit a home run. This is going to be good stuff.
I agree. I think the match is going to be great. I think Rhea's proven that she can just bring phenomenal matches to the table, and Zoe clearly is there as well. She's fast approaching that. Yeah, no, I like this a lot, and I appreciate the approach that they're using, and we saw this with LA Knight, whose ascent has been basically over the past year, 8 months or whatever it's been. Let's show these people that could be something big in the future, but it's a little early. Let's show them in the main event to show everybody what they can do and that they're close to being there. Same with LA Knight. I know he's like 40 years old or whatever, but still, when he's 41, he could be, dethroning Roman. I don't know.
I mean, he's a young 40, right?
He's a young 40. He's just getting started at 40.
He's young in the world of WWE,
He looks much better at 40 than I did.
Yeah, he looks much better at 40 than I do at 46.
Than I've ever had in my 20s, 30s, whatever.
I know.
But Zoe is no different. Show her in the main event of a Big Four pay-per-view. Yeah. Because she could very well be your consummate main eventer in a couple of years. Exactly. So get started on that now. It's honestly like, it reminds me of when they gave us Chris Jericho beating Triple H for the championship, and then Triple H took it right back from him by bullying the ref. But then within a year or two, Jericho was beating Rock and Austin on the same night.
Yeah.
And he became a perpetual main eventer. And to this day, Jericho's insisting on being a perpetual main eventer.
Yeah. Whether there's the demand for him to be a main eventer or not.
Right, exactly. Well, in his eyes, there's the demand.
I guess so. Well, he demands it. So I guess we could jump right into Raw. Seth Rollins opened up the show. He comes to the ring, drops a promo. But he doesn't do his usual kind of dancing down the ring.
Mm-hmm.
It's much more measured in his walk down because his back was wrecked by Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, bad back.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. Between that and the main event, he had the kinesio tape on his back. They're really starting to, hopefully on a regular basis, really lean into the fact that his back is all jacked up.
Every match that he has, it should get worse and worse.
It should. And it should be harder and harder for him to make that walk down to the ring.
Mm-hmm.
So he grabs the mic, says, Mohegan Sun Arena, welcome to Monday Night Rollins. I'm still your World Heavyweight Champion. Normally I come out and talk about myself, but tonight I want to talk about two other people. Two other people I need to say thank you to. Firstly, thank you to Drew McIntyre. Saturday, he and I beat the hell out of each other, and he's the reason I'm not 100% right now, but also the reason why I'm a little bit better than I was on Saturday. I want to give props to Drew because he is a man of his word. He said that he was not in bed with Judgment Day and at Crown Jewel. They did not get involved in our match. Now, after the match, Damian Priest tried to cash in, which brings me to the second person I want to thank. But I'd like to thank him in person. So, Sami Zayn, if you're back there, come on out and join the party, baby.
Let's go. So, Sammy comes out, and Seth says, I half expect you to come out with Damian's briefcase, but let me take a guess what happened. You showed up today, and Pierce made you return it, didn't he? And Sammy's like, that's a pretty good guess, and yeah, that's exactly what happened. He doesn't like that Seth knows. And Seth says, well, let me cut to the chase. After my match Saturday, I was in a pretty bad way. I could have maybe handled Priest on my own, but maybe I couldn't. I just wanted to say thank you. Since Saturday, I've been thinking about how I can repay you. And Sammy says, let me stop you before you go any further. I'm really glad I helped you out, and I truly appreciate that you appreciate it. But it's not why I did what I did. I've been dealing with the Judgment Day for months and months, and hearing him talk about how they run Raw, it's almost true. They hold almost every belt on Raw except for that World Heavyweight Championship and Gunther's Intercontinental Championship. If Priest gets that title, we're no longer dealing with Judgment Day. It's Bloodline 2.0. I fought too long and too hard. I'll fight Judgment Day and make sure I don't. He went off. So Seth says, all right, Sammy's in, everybody. He says, man, that's what I've always loved about you. No matter what, you always stand up for what you think is right. And I like that he mentioned what you think is right, because Sammy was a paranoid weirdo 2 years ago, but he thought he was in the right and he stood up for it.
Exactly.
So he says, here's the thing. In life, people like you don't always get what you deserve. Judgment Day doesn't run Monday Night Raw. I do. As long as I'm World Heavyweight Champion, that contract is the only way to get an opportunity at my title. The reason I knew Pierce made you give it back is because after you left, I went in. The reason I went in is the same reason I wanted you to come out. Sami Zayn, you got yourself a World Heavyweight Championship match. It's got your name on it. All you got to do is say when. And Sammy's taken aback. He's like, well, I'll be honest. You caught me off guard. I learned the hard way how hard it is to get a chance at a world title shot. And the first thing that comes to mind, if I win that World Heavyweight Championship, when I win that championship, because mark my words, I'll win that title. When I do, I want to beat a champion that's not compromised. And Seth's like, He says, I mean no disrespect. I love you. We go way back, but you're not 100% right now. What does Seth do? Takes off the glasses.
That's serious.
That's the character change right there.
It is.
When he drops the facade.
He did. He says, cut the crap, Sammy, cut the crap. Are you 100%? We go back a long way, and we've been doing this for decades. Guys like us are never 100%, but doesn't stop us from giving 100%. So I say it again, Sami Zayn. There's a World Heavyweight Championship match with your name on it. Just say when. And Sammy stares at him and says, just say when, huh? Well, I can't think of a better place or better time than right here tonight. Sammy puts the mic down, extends his hand. Seth shakes it. And then end scene. Then we go backstage at Judgment Day's locker room, and Finn is talking about pyramids and how old they are. It's like, yeah, generally people think they're 4,000, but there's new evidence that leads us to believe they could be as old as 12,000.
This backstage segment I watched several times because I love the Judgment Day as personalities and with chemistry. They are the best. It's on par with Roman and Jimmy at this point, because Roman and Jimmy are like one of my favorite things to watch right now. And dude, it's just, again, that is the joy of WWE programming right now, is that all these characters, all the performers know exactly who they are. The chemistry is off the charts. They're pairing people, they're putting people together who really work well off each other. And so you got Finn talking about pyramids being 12,000 years old and not 4,000 years old. And then Dom, scummy Dom, who's sitting there with Rhea, says, speaking of old, I could watch Logan Paul beat up my deadbeat dad for the U.S. title over and over again, but I could watch Mommy's victory even more. So Rhea says, everyone knows Mommy's on top. And then Priest barges in hot. He's got a head full of steam, and immediately Finn scowls, trying to match that energy because he knows he has to be there with them. So Priest says, did you see that? I had to go to Pierce to get this back. Talking about the briefcase. But the guy who screws me out of a title match gets a title match tonight. And Finn says,
JD's and then trying to calm him down. He goes,
well, hold on, wait. Finn says, oh, that's Sami Zayn. I can't stand him. And then JD tries to calm him down in the worst way possible.
He goes, look, big man. And speaking like really hushed tones, look, big man. I know things didn't go your way Saturday.
Yeah, I know that, smart guy, because it happened to me, says Priest. That shit was hilarious. But then he stops himself because he notices something. He notices that JD is wearing a Damian Priest t-shirt. He says, did you buy that shirt? And then JD
mutters something like something, and they didn't want it.
Yeah, I think he said he saw it. Somebody in the locker room had it, and they didn't want it, or something like that. Oh, my God, it was hilarious. So, of course, Rhea Ripley, the leader, has to step in and says, listen, Priest has got this. Priest says, yeah, and says to Finn, says, you and I are going to handle the New Day and make things right around here. And then they walk off to have their match against the New Day. The chemistry, and we got a point also, when Priest mentions the shirt, Dom, who had he's got the same shirt on, but it's the purple variant. He's got a Damian Priest shirt on, freaked out so much by Priest being hot that he closes his shirt to hide that he's wearing a Damian Priest shirt too. You don't want to get yelled at. Oh, it's so damn good. The chemistry between these people.
It really is. It really is. I know. I love that Priest, for whatever the motivation. He's insecure, especially after what happened at Crown Jewel, where he's basically humiliated. Mm-hmm. Goes up to JD and sees him wearing his shirt. It's like, is this ribbon? Are you ribbing me?
Yeah,
are you trying to mock me?
Yeah.
Did you buy that? Did I at least get money out of that transaction?
Right. Did I get my merch money from that?
Like that one statement, that one question has so much behind it.
Yeah, I know. Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
And
you have to love the moxie of JD. Like, dude, be background at that point. Be in the background. Why do you keep talking? Why do you keep talking? Now of all times, this dude is pissed off. He's looking for somebody. Did you not learn when he was choking you up against the wall, holding you up by your neck? Did you not learn? But he doesn't, and that's because characters don't change. They behave the way regular people do, and that's the great thing about this.
Yes. First match of the night, New Day taking on Judgment Day. Really fun tag match here.
Mm-hmm.
The New Day's gear. Maybe Wolfpack inspired gear here they had on.
Oh, man, it was beautiful. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was
amazing.
Awesome. Yeah.
Amazing. Judgment Day get the win here. It's a really fun match. Down towards the end, we have a bit of miscommunication between Finn and Priest. Priest ends up kind of elbowing Finn in the corner. Xavier Wood tags in. Priest is dumped out of the ring. Kofi hits the superplex on Finn. Woods follows with the elbow. Priest ends to break up that pin. So Kofi and Priest tumble over the top. But then Priest throws Kofi into the announce table. Finn rolls up Woods for a 2. Woods rolls up Finn for a 2. He kicks out. Then Finn hits him with the sling blade. He tags in Priest south of heaven. Finn tags back in. Coup de grace. Judgment Day get the win.
The nice little tag chemistry there at the end too. Priest goes up to because he always puts his hand up to bring it in for the end. Finn gets the tag right there. That was some good stuff.
Real smooth stuff.
After that, Drew McIntyre drives up in his SUV. Jackie's looking for an interview. She's like, hey, what about last night? Or what happened at Crown Jewel? Gets back in his car and leaves.
Can't face his own shortcomings.
No. Yeah, he has no desire to talk about that.
No.
So after that, we have Akira Tozawa versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Really short match. We got like a hint of what Tozawa can do.
He's got one of the best suicide dives in the business.
He does, yeah, because he goes like head first. It's great.
Yeah.
And he's so snappy too. Like when he hit that German suplex on Nakamura, it's just you want to see more because he could do like that's just barely scratching the surface of what he can do. He's able to avoid a Kinshasa once, but doesn't happen again. Nakamura ends up hitting it to get the win here. After the match, Nakamura's taunting Tozawa. Otis gets in the ring, and
starts gyrating and whatnot.
Yeah. So later on, we find out that Otis has Nakamura next week. That should be a good match too.
That should be. Then we got a Natalya video package, and they run that before hyping up the Battle Royal tonight for the new #1 contendership for the women's title. Then we got Adam Pearce. in a pre-recorded message talking about a fatal four-way match tonight to determine a new contender for Gunther's Intercontinental title.
Mm-hmm.
So he says Gunther has made the Intercontinental Championship one of the most sought-after titles in WWE. His matches are must-see events. And with that in mind, I wanted to give him the highest competition. I selected 4 superstars to fight for a chance at facing Gunther. Mm-hmm. And he says who they are. First, we got The Miz. We got Bronson Reed, and he explains why. Ivar, and then finally Ricochet, the man who Gunther defeated over 500 days ago to become champion. And then he says, tonight these 4 men face off in a championship contenders match, clash of styles and personalities. But once it's done, we will have our next challenger for Gunther and for the Intercontinental title. Then hit Miz's music. He comes to the ring. All the participants make their way to the ring, go to commercial, we come back. Seth is backstage with Pierce, and Pierce says to him, after what you went through, you want to do this tonight? Seth says to him, Piercy, been over this a million times. I appreciate your concern, but I'm born to run, boss.
Baby, I was
think, cue the Springsteen.
Yeah. And then we had Miz versus Ricochet versus Ivar versus Bronson Reed. This match was awesome. Man, the crowd was super into this. They were super into the Miz, but everybody was just doing killer stuff here. Commentary made a note that Eric from the Viking Raiders underwent C6, C7 neck fusion surgery successfully, and he's recovering. I like that they're bringing the whole, world of WWE into this.
Exactly.
It's not just, we're forgetting about him, so Ivar's not doing shit. No, man. I think that's good. So, yeah, the finish. So Meltzer in his tweet was speculating that Ricochet had got knocked a little loopy in this match, and that might have accounted for him kicking out in the finish when he shouldn't have. So basically the finish was sort of like Miz goes for his skull crushing finale. Ricochet rolls through, hits a recoil. He covers, but Ivar hits a splash on him and Miz. Ivar tries for a German, but Ricochet fights out of that. Ricochet and Ivar hit stereo cartwheels. Ivar, which is a cool spot. It was like a little, like they missed it by just a little bit because they were supposed to go past each other.
Yeah.
Ivar hit a kick on the follow through and a lariat to get 2. Ivar and Reed brawl again. Ivar hits a springboard clothesline for 2. Ivar throws up the horns and hits a sit-down splash in the corner, but runs into a kick from Ricochet. Miz and Ricochet with another double down, but with a big boot this time. Reed heads up atop, as does Ivar. So they're looking to hit a tsunami for Reed, a moonsault for Ivar. They're sort of looking at each other and John at each other. Ivar hits his moonsault on Ricochet, but Reed misses his on the Miz. That impact, I guess, was enough to keep him down because Miz covered him. Ivar covers Ricochet. Ricochet kicks out at 2, but Miz gets a 3 because the ref is doing a double count. And so, little confusion. They were trying to figure out because it was a super awkward ending.
Because Cole was like, "Oh, I don't think Ricochet kicked out." And it was clear as day he kicked out. Watching the show,
it was super clear. Yeah, so he was trying to see if there was a way to cover that up, because that was obviously the plan. But then eventually, I guess Triple H on the headset was probably like, "Nope, it is what it is. Miz wins." And so yeah. Then Cole says, "No, yeah, look at they replays. Oh yeah, look at that. Ricochet did in fact kick out." So Miz gets the win here. After that,
Ivar attacks Miz after the match.
Yeah. Sets up their match next week.
Yep. And then we're backstage. Tozawa's there with Gable Otis. He apologized for the loss. And Gable says, "Don't apologize. It was a great effort. I just wish you would have listened to me. I said not to dive in with the big fish right away." And Otis says, "Oh, don't worry about Shinsuke. I'll have him next week for you." And Gable says, "You got to refocus. You have a Heritage Cup match tomorrow night, and Alpha Academy are going to be there to cheer you on." And Tozawa says, "Arigato." And he does his little dance out of the room. And so Gable says, "I love it. That's a wild card. I'm stoked. I got my number 1 guy. And speak of the devil, there she is. Are you ready for the Battle Royal tonight?" So Maxine steps in, says, "Oh, I'm ready. I've been studying. There's a lot of women out there. I don't need to eliminate them all. I just need to be the last one. And if I am, you could be looking at your next women's world champion." And Gable says, "Take notes like Tozawa. Stick to people your own size."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Before we keep going here, I want to mention this. There was a super chat before we even started the show today from Mickey G.
Ooh, thanks.
Says, "Hey guys, love the channel.
Hey.
So when a talent is not getting over, when is it safe to say give it time? It's bad creative, or the talent doesn't connect to the crowd? Like how long Do you wait until you say, oh, we got to try something?
I think it depends on the circumstance. I think if there's a situation where something's just not connecting, sometimes you know pretty quick.
It seems pretty obvious sometimes, yeah. It's like, why are they doing this right now?
Yeah.
So thank you for that super chat. Right now, Larson, we've got 602 people watching. Wait.
Oh, I see 608.
Hold on a second, though. This can't be right. There's only 144 likes.
That doesn't add up.
That math doesn't add up, because if 608 people are watching right now and only 144 people have hit the like button, that means there's something really wrong with like 400 and whatever number of people. That's a lot of people who have not hit like. My question to you, if you have not hit like, again, this is not for the people who have hit liked. They're normal. People who haven't hit like, bit abnormal, bit weird. I'll be honest with you. That makes you kind of a jerk. Okay, so if you don't want to be a jerk, hit the like button. Am I right, Larson? They're jerks, aren't they?
Go ahead and say what you're going to say.
They're a bunch of jerks, and my feelings are hurt right now because 400 people are saying they don't like me. What is it? My face? Is it my voice? My general demeanor?
Don't take it.
You can't smell me. It's not my hygiene.
Don't take it as a slight towards you. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the one they don't like.
Why wouldn't they like you? You're the most lovable person I've ever met in my entire life.
No, I'm pretty.
Look at that face. I want to
squeeze
aloof. It right now. Oh, I want to squeeze it. I want to kiss that big forehead of yours. Oh, so bad.
Okay, next time perhaps. Look, 199 likes already. Oh, we're over 200. Thank you. We can stop now.
Hey, I feel a little bit better now.
But hey, there's something else we can ask y'all to do. If you haven't subbed the channel, please do. We're trying to get to that palindrome number, 198,891 subs. We're not there yet.
It's a beautiful number.
Like to get there by the end of the year. Steve, give me your favorite palindrome.
Oh, come on. You know my favorite palindrome. It's boob.
Poop.
Poop is a great one, too.
Poop. Palindrome. Same going front ways and back ways.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're trying to get to that magic number, 198,891 subs. Please help us. If you haven't subbed the channel, please do so and hit the notify bell. We got Big Horny Dude renewing their membership for 11 months.
Nice.
Says, oh man, almost a year. Here's to another. Comparing this War Games to last year, will this one be as compelling as that was? I think there's potential more so. I know there was a lot of good intrigue last year with Bloodline stuff and Sammy there. But with the beef that so many members of the face team, if you will, have, the constant seemingly dysfunction within Judgment Day, it's all teetering on the brink of collapse at all times.
Yeah, Seth doesn't like Cody. Seth doesn't like Jay, probably because of the Bloodline stuff. Yeah, you got a lot going on there. So this could be really, and on top of that, Triple H is booking it completely. I think this is going to be a stellar War Games. I really do. I got a good feeling about it. You know, Big Horny Dude here is a channel member for 11 months. It's almost a year, if I'm not mistaken, if my math is right.
That's right. I believe there's 12 months in a year.
And that's great because that's almost a year that Big Horny Dude has been able to participate in the Friendo predictions challenges. It's been a year that he's been able to get on the question threads that we answer here on the show. It's been almost a year that he's been able to watch our bonus episodes that we drop every once in a while. And you
hopefully weekly, but
yeah, we try weekly. Hopefully we'll be able to get that back on track weekly. We did one this past Friday, so hey, we're if we get one this Friday, we'll be weekly.
That's now we're on a run. We got some momentum behind us.
Exactly, and you know how momentum works. So you might ask yourself, how can I be like Big Horny Dude? I want the Big Horny Dude setup because it's the Friendo Club setup. It's for everybody. It's not like the Tribal Chief setup, which is only for one person, Roman Reigns, and very specifically not for another person, Seth Rollins. But guess what? If Seth Rollins wanted the Friendo Club setup, he could have it because it is for everybody. All you got to do is get on youtube.com/Steven Larson and click join. It's $5 a month. Most of that money goes to us. A little bit goes to YouTube, but that's cool too. They have costs and stuff.
Yeah, the servers, stuff like that. That costs money, right?
I would think so. Or you can go to patreon.com/Steven Larson. It's literally the Friendo Club setup reward tier right there. It's $5 a month. Most of that goes to us because Patreon setup costs are probably a lot less than YouTube's because they don't have server space, although now you can upload videos.
All that video to host, no.
Yeah, I guess so. So that's two ways you could do it. Friendo Club setup on the YouTube channel memberships or patreon.com/Steven Larson bonus episodes. The Friendo Predictions Challenge. Noah Holt got one extra point. That could be a crucial point heading into Week of Champions 3. John Hosey needs to be a little bit scared because right now there's a guy out there who has 1 point on him, and he might lose that Big Blue Predictions championship.
By 1 point.
By 1 point.
By 1 point.
Absolutely. And if you want to participate, get the Friendo Club set up. It's for you. It's for Big Horny Dude, and it's for Seth Rollins. It's for all the friendos.
It could even be for Roman Reigns if you wanted to.
Roman Reigns is allowed to have the Friendo Club setup. Unlike the Tribal Chief setup, that other setup that Seth Rollins ain't allowed to have.
You mean that other setup? Next, we got a Creed Brothers video package highlighting their Raw debut last week, and then they're in Adam Pearce's office putting pen to paper on their new Raw deals. They're Raw superstars now.
Yeah, man.
Creeds and Ivy Nile. That's great that Ivy Nile got called up. Whole
oh, that's awesome.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
So DIY walk in like a couple of dorks and be like, hey, look at this.
They are.
Look at this, guys.
Dorks, man.
Been wanting this match for a while.
Oh,
and then Julia says, well, there's only someone who can make it official. And they all look at Ivy at first. And then Pierce is like, no, I could do that. And they're like, very funny. And the match is made.
I don't even know. I'll be honest with you. I don't even know what to do with DIY. I guess it's just so like, am I just supposed to be happy for them that they're no Vince? They don't have to worry about Vince. They've got like really slick music that just doesn't fit. Like, dude, Ciampa used to come out to a chorus of booze. He used to not have
chorus's theme is, or Ciampa's theme is great.
No one will survive.
Oh, it's fantastic. I know people really like Johnny's initial Rebel Heart theme. I get it. It's a catchy tune.
Yeah.
Both of those, either of those, better than whatever this is they got for their theme. Here's the thing. If you're a tag team and there's someone in your theme that shouts out the name of your tag team, in my mind, that's instantly like, I'm not into that. It's too specific.
So I will say this. A couple people here in the Twitch chat, favorite customer organ grinder, favorite customer referring to them as Depth It Yourself, which is actually a joke I made last night as well on text message. I don't think they're depth guys yet. They had this match against the Creed brothers, and they lost, but they lost due to interference from Kaiser. Now the question will be, are they going to get the ultimate loss to Imperium? And I don't know, because Vinny Vinci is kind of a mess, and that dude eats a lot of L's.
Oh, yeah.
And Triple H, I think, has a soft spot, obviously, for DIY, so I don't think he's going to make them depth guys. But
they're utility guys. Because right here, they were there to I know there's interference involved, to get over the Creeds.
Yeah.
Creeds are higher in the pecking order right now than DIY is.
Yeah, they're young, they're hot. I think they probably got big plans for Julius at the very least.
Absolutely.
I think Triple H knows that he
the
can tell.
The repackaging they did with DIY has to go. It's awful. And then Michael Cole calls him the DIY.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, when they were doing the graphic for this match, the DIY.
Yeah.
So Nick here says long-term storytelling. I hope there's something by this where like they reunite and Ciampa's like, this is too slick and boring.
Yeah.
Like I want something rougher edged.
I miss my yeah. He's like, I miss my
they come out to the ramp and they're like trying to get the crowd to clap along.
I know, right?
No.
This isn't American Gladiators.
No.
This isn't an after school special. Like Ciampa used to film these promos in like storage units or something.
I know, and moving trucks. And he'd finish and kick his chair over because he was angry.
Yeah,
Where's that intensity, that anger?
That?
He's directing it, trying to get the crowd to clap along with him to their boring theme song.
He's fed. He's got for how long he had that, like, probably, $40K a year, the NXT contract. Talk about a DIY contract. $40K a year. You can't do shit with that.
No.
But now he's on main roster, $240 a year. Oh man. Now, oh, holy crap. I can get the higher level package on cable TV. Oh my gosh.
You know, he must have been making good money in NXT because he'd been, even before he went to main roster, he had a pretty nice home gym setup.
Oh, yeah.
Like really nice.
Oh, I'm sure he was making a lot more than 40K.
Yeah.
I'm sure he was doing pretty well. But, like, I like the idea that because remember how, like, in kayfabe, like, NXT wrestlers, they're all hella poor? Like, Cameron
they all live in
Grimes.
the same apartment complex. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Like, Cameron Grimes, he was like, oh, man, I made $200,000 in stonks. And it's like, he's hella rich.
I know. Before that, all I owed was this hat.
Like, dude, everybody was poor in NXT. Like, that was part of their storyline.
Yeah.
$1 Million Man comes by, ha, 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 you want $20? And people are scrambling for it, you know?
It's like the Hunger Games over there when the $1 Million Man comes at the PC.
Right, exactly. So it's like, oh, finally, I can make six figures. So I think thematically it works. Like NXT, you're poor. Come to main roster, now you're flush. And maybe that's the thing. Ciampa's like, oh, man, I hated those, camo pants of mine. They didn't breathe very well. Now I get slick gear. I'm on Raw or SmackDown,
Yeah, I know. I want the American Gladiator theme stuff because that's what it looks like. They look like
they do.
Trying to be American Gladiator.
They should license that theme. That'd be great. I would actually be down with that if DIY fully went American Gladiators.
That'd be great. And change the name to Gladiator type names.
Turbo and Ice, and Ciampa comes out one of them giant the jousting mallets,
there
the
you
big
go.
Pillowy jousting.
And then
mallets.
Gargano's got the cannon that shoots tennis balls.
Dun, dun. Yeah,
they're trying to get the crowd into it, and he's shooting tennis balls at the crowd.
Poor little kids. Gargano gets it with a tennis ball. No, Al would be better. When they get there, when their entrance is, Gargano's got the thing, and Ciampa has to dodge the tennis balls as he's running out there.
There it is. There it is. Like, the T-shirt cannon gets people hyped up. We're giving out free tennis balls.
Oh, man. Jimmy Thomas is big pocket Steve looking down at 40K. Hey, man, these days 40K can't buy you a 20K. My goodness gracious. You can't do shit with that.
No.
Inflation and gas prices and everything's
price
horrible.
Gouging. Call it what it is, Steve.
Price gouging. These goddamn corporations, man.
Anyways, there's a match, DIY, do-it-yourself, between the Creed brothers. Creed brothers won this because of interference from Ludwig Kaiser.
Ludwig Kaiser comes out. How dare you have a crappy theme song? And then, kicks Gargano in the head. John ends up on the bad end of a Brutus ball, which is a terrible finish, by the way. Can't stand it.
It's a cool move. I like the move. It's fun to see. But as a finish, meh.
Yeah, not huge on it.
That's the one thing the Creeds, the sliding clothesline they used to do looked vicious, but still, they haven't had come up with a good tag finish for them. Like, that should be the setup for their finish.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. After that, we had, let's see here. Oh, a replay of Sammy versus Roman at the Elimination Chamber last time he had a world title shot. And it shows Sammy watching that backstage, and Jay comes up and they hug, and Jay says, hey, if I could be honest, I feel bad about what happened back in the day. Because, of course, he was, there. And Sammy's like, forget about that. Tonight is what it's about. And Jay says, you deserve this, Oos. You're going to go out there and show him who you are, Oos. New World Heavyweight Champion. My dog, Sami Zayn. They hug, and Sammy says, hey, how'd your conversation with Pierce go? And he says, it went good. Me and Cody, we're going to face Judgment Day next week for the tag titles. Who knows? Maybe by next week, we're both going to be champions. Got bad news for you, Jey Uso. By next week, none of you are going to be champions.
None of them are going to be champions.
Because the Judgment Day runs Raw.
They do. So Jackie's backstage interviewing Becky Lynch. Asked her about being in the Battle Royal, and Becky says the man has come around looking for a fight, and it's against the entire Raw Women's division. And if it leads me to a title opportunity, count me in. If it leads to the most anticipated match at Survivor Series, me versus Rhea Ripley, count me in. And then Jackie's like, someone's behind you. It's Nia. So Becky says, try to sneak up on me. And Nia says, no, I was waiting for you to turn around so I can say to your face that not one woman is throwing me over the top, which means I'll win. It'll make me the happiest since I broke your face. And Becky kind of laughs. You know what's funny about that is that after that happened, I went on to win the main event of WrestleMania, and you went on to get fired. Good to have you back. Woo!
That was crossing the line, man. She said you went on to get fired. Yeah, that was good. So after that, Byron's backstage with Piper and Chelsea. Asks them about the Battle Royal. Green says, we feel amazing, Brian. We're champions. We actually have a shot. Some of the women are giving off charity vibes. Tegan Knox, Natalya. Didn't I humiliate her last week? Says those other women who literally just lost to Rhea Ripley. She bit them all by herself. What are they going to do? And then Shayna Baszler says, "What am I going to do?" And it's her and Zoe. They walk up, and Chelsea's like, "Hi." And Shayna says, "I'm tearing apart the first person I see limb from limb, and I may make sure it's you." And then Green says, "Get her, bestie," talking about Piper. Piper just smiles and says, "It's every woman for themselves." And then Green just sort of unnerved laughs and says, "Inside joke," and then runs off. And then Shayna and Zoe talk a little bit about who's going to win, and Shayna's like, "I'm going to win." And Zoe's like, pff, 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 pff. Anyways, after that Battle Royal was badass, though, man. That
it was. It was great.
Yeah.
Lots of fun. Good spots for everybody. Ivy Nile had that great spot where she press slam Caden Carter out. That was great.
They gave her a really good showing.
Chance had on to Carter. That was awesome.
They gave her a really good showing. Yeah, that was really cool stuff.
It was really cool. So down towards the end, a bunch of people joined forces to eliminate Nia. Ivy's on the apron, though. So Nia, in anger, just yanks Ivy off. She's eliminated. So we're down to the final three, Shayna, Raquel, and Zoe Stark. So Raquel is sent over, hangs on to the top rope. Shayna and Zoe are on the apron. They're trading some blows. Shayna tries for a German suplex off the apron. Sorry. Before that all, Raquel tries to hang on but can't. She's eliminated. So it's down to Zoe and Shayna. So Shayna tries for a German suplex on Zoe. Zoe elbows out of it. Shayna locks on the Kirifuda, but she realizes how it's put on that if Zoe passes out, that she's going to be eliminated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So she has to let go. So Zoe kicks her in the head, then another. Zoe follows with a knee, and then another kick and a DDT on the apron. And that eliminates Shayna. Zoe Stark is your winner. I can't wait for her match with Rhea. It's going to be awesome.
I loved this finish. It was so creative. Shayna understanding, oh, crap, this is probably not the best way to win this. And then, that last little bit, that's all you got, bitch. And then whoop, she's out.
Yeah.
I thought that was awesome. That was so good.
Stuff.
Yeah.
It was so good. Then we're backstage with Rhea. She's got an interview. She's asked about Zoe being number one contender. And Rhea says, I'll handle my business at Survivor Series, but next week, Judgment Day handles ours, and then a voice. Hey, it's Zoe Stark.
Yeah, she says, your focus should be entirely on me. I'll make sure you remember that I hit you with a Z360 in that match the other day, and if it weren't for Nia, I'd be women's world champion. Rhea's like, I got a lot on my plate as leader of Judgment Day, but I didn't forget about you. I beat 4 of the baddest women at Crown Jewel, or did you forget after the Avalanche Riptide? And Zoe says, I want you to remember me as the one to take that from you. Hold on to it tight. I'm like, come on, Zoe. Rhea's got a lot going on right now as leader of Judgment Day.
Yeah, she does. Then we had our main event.
Yep.
Sammy versus Seth Rollins. Phenomenal match. They gave about 25 minutes, I want to say, roughly.
I freaking loved. And let me ask you, sort of, if you think this is going to be like a longer thing. But there was that bit in the match early on when they find themselves up against the ropes and Sammy looks down at Seth's lower back and he's struggling, man, if I really want this, I need to start wrecking his back. But he's not willing to go that extra step in the spirit of good sportsmanship. And so he just says, I could have got you here. And he slaps him on the back.
Slaps him in the back. Yeah.
And Seth is like, damn, he could have got me there.
You know who needs to take that belt off Seth then is Gunther. Imagine that situation. Gunther chops the shit out of his lower back.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Man. Remember he would do that shit to Ilya?
Yeah. It was always the back of the neck. He chopped the shit out of him.
Yeah. It gave him trauma, too. That was awesome.
It did. He had to overcome that to win the title.
Yeah, right.
That's
remember he did that shit with, what was his name? Sam.
Gradwell.
Gradwell, yeah.
Yeah.
He poked the bear there, man.
Yeah.
He got wrecked. That's a really great point. I just love that moment. And conversely, Seth didn't get the win with a vicious stomp. It was a sequence of roll-ups. And it just took a split second. He got Sammy down in a really good roll-up position and got the win here.
Well, it's because Sammy was trying to exploit Seth's bad back and do something he doesn't normally do. So let's see here. Seth hits where am I? Buckle bomb. looking for a stomp. Instead, Sammy counters with the Blue Thunder Bomb, gets a 2. Seth hits him with a forearm. Sammy hits the exploder into the corner. He's looking for a haluva kick. Instead, he runs into a super kick. Seth follows the pedigree, gets a 2 there. Goes for the stomp. But instead, Sammy gets up and puts him in a lion tamer, something that Sammy doesn't normally do. Sammy went outside of his comfort zone to try to attack Seth's back.
Yeah.
And he transitions that to a Boston Crab. And Seth is trying to get to the ropes, but can't. Instead, he rolls through and you have a roll-up counter to a roll-up to get the win. It's a really good sequence.
Yeah.
And then Sammy's beside himself that he lost because he thought, well, I was attacking Seth's weak point. I should have won. Seth gets to his feet. They shake hands, hug. Sammy raises his hands, and he kind of sulks off. He's disappointed in himself. Judgment Day runs down and starts beating up Sammy on the floor. Seth leaps or hits him with a suicide dive. We got a brawl that breaks out. Main event, Jey Uso, just me Us, comes down to help out. Eventually, the brawl just is massive. We got 4 members of Judgment Day. We got Seth, we got Sammy, we got Jay. Of course, Cody comes down to help out. Just a massive brawl breaks out. Pierce runs down to try to break it up. Eventually, they clear the ring out enough. Pierce gets on the mic, says, enough. I'm tired of the games. Every night, every week. You 4 want to play games? 4 want to play games? Well, we're going to play games. Survivor Series in Chicago, it's War Games.
Takes his glasses off, looks right into the camera.
War Games! Serious then.
Man, he killed it. I thought he did a great job. Yeah, that was awesome. That was what a great
Cody
reveal.
Punctuated the show by hitting a dive off the top onto everybody.
Yeah, I know. They showed it was great too because they showed like his face right after he says War Games and Cody.
Yeah,
he's like, I
He
can't wait.
smiled. He's like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'm cool with that.
I get to bleed. I get to bleed.
Whereas
this time?
JD almost pulled Adam Cole. So
Yeah,
he didn't do this, but
that was good stuff, man. That was good stuff. The chaos. Triple H loves the chaos, man.
Yeah, he loves his pull aparts.
He loves it. I love a good
Loves his
pull
pull aparts.
Yeah. Hey, that by the way, earlier I meant to mention this. The Akira Tozawa tonight in a Heritage Cup match. Holy shit.
Who's he
gonna
wrestling?
be good.
Is it Noam Dar?
I don't know, but there's like a million awesome wrestlers there in the Heritage Cup division. So whoever it is, they're gonna give that dude time to cook, and they're probably gonna have him do an Akira Tozawa match. That's one you probably want to check out.
Yeah. If you're a fan of Tozawa like we are, check it out.
Yeah.
All right. We've got a great question here from Stephen M. Smurf Galway. So, Steve, can we get a Big Dummy t-shirt? Or alternatively, I like going in Raw Friendo Club Stephen Larson because I'm the big dummy. What if you do kind of like the old I'm with stupid shirt and then the arrow pointing to your side?
Yeah. I'm a big dummy.
Arrow.
The thing is, like,
pointing up, and so you're calling yourself a big dummy.
Like the thing is, like, it kind of needs to be an honor system thing where only Android users can wear this shirt. They're the only ones who can purchase that because that originally stemmed from me calling Android users big dummies.
Or how about this? You wear the shirt regardless of what kind of phone you use. You're out in public. You see someone using an Android. Shuffle up next to him. Someone take a picture of you next to someone's Android phone.
This guy's a big dummy. And it was a joke. Everybody relax. I know Androids are fine or whatever.
Yeah, they're fine. I've had Android before. They're fine.
Yeah, no, that's why that's why I refer to them as big dummies because you hated yours.
One of them I didn't like. One of them I really didn't like. I've had others that
used to slam it, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
God, the stupid thing you'd like be jabbing it and you start something like it's not going to help your situation.
No, that's the one I think I dropped. That's why it didn't work.
Oh, that's a good point. Maggie says they have to post it as proof shirt with a pixelated Android photo. The thing is, some Android phones are way better with the pictures than the iPhones. That being said, and you have to remember where the source is coming from. But nobody said Big Dummy better than the Enforcer.
Oh,
I can hear him in my head.
I know.
I'm a big dummy. Oh no, Hosey says I'm not a big dummy. John Hosey, you got an Android phone? Guess what? Predictions champion or no, you're a big dummy.
Alex Costa here says the Miz is winning matches. Larson, are you doing okay? I don't have a problem with him winning matches. I just don't want historically I don't want him to be a featured part on Raw or SmackDown.
I know, I agree, and it's
but
because
if he's doing interesting stuff, come around.
It's because he's never really been in it. He's so rarely in anything interesting. But when he is, he's good. Like I hope that this was the beginning
stuff with his dad was fun.
Yeah. Oh, baked potato face. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun stuff.
That was good stuff. Mr. Dope says, "Ouch." Yeah, dude, your text messages are green, and when I try to do the cool new sticker function on iPhone, it doesn't work. It doesn't do what I want it to do. Big dummy, Mr. Dope.
Wow.
Dave Matushek says, if War Games ever returns next year, do you think they could pair it with a traditional Survivor Series matchup for parity? I think
we'll get that.
I think they're going to do that. I think this year that we're going to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, have Raw versus SmackDown. I think that's what the whole point of Aldis and Pierce kind of having a bit of beef.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I watch wrestling. JF prominently featured on Collision this week. I mean, he wasn't live on the show though.
Oh,
anyway,
yeah, it was like a brief thing. Yeah.
It was a pre-recorded promo and then the thing on the Tron, and he wasn't advertised for it. And they didn't even break 400,000. What would WWE do differently that would make him a draw? I mean, I think we've seen evidence outside of one episode of Collision that he wasn't even advertised for.
Mm-hmm.
That MJF brings in viewership.
Well, okay, here's the thing, too.
One of the highest rated Collisions is the one that he and Adam Cole had that match.
Because that story was so good. It ain't, look, man,
Exactly.
It's not the character in a vacuum, in my opinion. That is the draw. And look, this is me speaking for my own personal opinion with no data to back it up, right? But in that moment, him and Adam Cole were in the middle of a story that people were interested in. And they went to that show. They turned on their TVs to go watch that show because they were continuing that story on that episode of Collision. And that's why it did that good rating. That's my personal opinion on that one. What would WWE do for different? They would put him in the same situation that they are doing right now with everybody else. They would put him in stories that bring people to the television. That's what they would do.
Yep. Coach John Pliskin here with the super chat asked, power rank 5 masters of the chokeslam. Just off the top of my head, no particular order. The Giant.
The Giant was my number 1 from WCW. Yeah,
because when he held them up there for seemingly ever.
Yeah,
great.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Giant.
Yeah. Scott Hall's choke slam.
Yeah, his little short choke slam.
It was like a short choke slam. I always liked that one.
I like that too.
That was a good one.
Sid.
Yeah, Sid. I'd give it up for Kane. I think Kane had a good choke slam.
Yeah.
And then Undertaker. Undertaker had a good choke slam.
What about primetime Brian Lee? No, 911. Sorry, it was 911, wasn't it?
Maybe.
Wasn't this where he got choke slammed? Or the Tommy Dreamer match, the scaffold match, wasn't that? No, that was primetime Brian Lee.
That was Brian Lee. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. Those are all good. All good choke slams. Who does a choke slam now?
Who was it was it 911 that choke slammed Paul Heyman when you watched that old ECW episode?
That sounds right. I think it was 911.
I think it was 911.
Was 911 same as One Man Gang or no? Those are different guys.
No, I don't think so. I think
those are different guys. One Man Gang, wasn't he Akeem?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Edward wants to know who had the best power bomb.
Okay, so in my opinion, The Last Ride is the best power bomb because it looks fucked up. It looks really fucked up.
It does.
But I was always a fan of Kevin Nash's power bomb. He would just sort of lift him up and then just whatever happens.
Yeah. Sid was the same way. Although Sid at one point, like early in his career, that was what he did. But then later on, he would sometimes put his hand on the person's back as they were going down to kind of guide them down.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
so
very safe. Yeah, okay. So Damian Priest, he's got the South of Heaven choke slam.
One. The sit-down choke slam.
That's a good one. And then Von Wagner has a choke slam?
Really?
He's going against Braun Breaker. I might have to watch NXT tonight. Akira Tozawa's wrestling and Braun Breaker versus Von Wagner.
Oh, Von might get that win.
Von might get a win.
Andrew Connolly says, you had to pick out of these 4 to be the 5th man for each team. Who would you pick? Orton and Drew or Kevin Owens and Jimmy Uso? Here's the thing about Orton. I know it'd be great to have him back in War Games. I don't know if his first match back after major back surgery is going to be a War Games match.
He needs to be rebranded. He needs to join Alpha Academy. Be like, listen, I just had
wrestler now.
Technical wrestler. Yeah. Mat wrestler. A submission specialist.
Yes. So give me KO and then give me Drew. Give me Owens and give me Drew.
That's good. Yeah, I like that. That's good.
But that means Drew is on Team Judgment Day. I really want Drew to join Judgment Day.
Fuck it. You know what? Rhea Ripley joins. She does double duty.
That'd be great.
She does War Games and Zoe Stark. That'd be too much. We'll end on this one because I know you love these types of questions. Jesse Helsia says, what's your preferred type of beer, Larson?
There's two that I'm going to go to if I can find them. St. Bernardus.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. The Christmas still is really good, too. And then Grimbergen Double. They're both Belgian beers. Fantastic. Right
now, my beer of choice is Old Speckled Hen because it tastes kind of like Boddington's, and they don't export Boddington's anymore. You can't find it in the States. It is a drag. Yeah. I might like Old Speckled Hen more, though, to be honest with you. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, but that's my shit. Anyways, that's going to do it for the show today. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Till next time, we'll see you around.
Goodbye!
That was like a Wilhelm scream. I like that one.